Is this turned on? That's the beauty of the idea of sanctification. When you accept Christ, you are completely sanctified at that moment. And then we spend the next 80 years trying to figure out what that means.
Mhm.
What does it mean to be sanctified? Well, it means that I stand in freedom. I am now a slave of righteousness.
Yeah, it was. I think it was somebody you had on your podcast a couple weeks back, Dan Thomas.
Dan Thomas, yeah.
He made that comment about sanctification that was so perfect. It was what was it? Sanctification is the Spirit's process of healing you from the spiritual amnesia.
Yeah, spiritual amnesia was the word he
That's
used. Yeah,
perfect.
that is so good. Okay. Ooh, I think we're about done. I thought I had 8 questions on here. Oh, there it is.
Question when you get done.
Go ahead and ask your question.
Well, I want to know how you found Grace, or how did Grace find you?
Well, actually, my best friend Chris.
Yeah,
You guys got to.
Yeah, we
chance
got to meet him, yeah.
a week or so back. He had been working on me for probably about a year and a half, and this was during that period where I didn't really want anything to do with God, honestly, and I was going to a couple of different churches at the time, and I was basically there because I wanted my kid in church, because I still felt like that was the place for him to grow up, and I no longer hold that position, but it was interesting. I was thinking about that the other day, and I heard a sermon, somebody talking about how so many people think that that's where you have to raise your kids is in church, because, well, they have to learn about Jesus. Well, you can teach them about Jesus at home. Well, they have to learn morals. They have to learn morality. Well, I mean, you can get that from a good teacher. You can get that from a good group of friends. You can learn morality. You don't have to be in a church to have a relationship with God.
You don't have to be in a church building, but we are the church.
Yeah, that's right.
We are the church, and we are the bride, and he gives us what we need for those things.
That's right.
And I think that's one of the things that the church small c has gotten caught up into, is that they are teaching morality rather than righteousness.
Yeah, they're teaching behavior modification.
Yep, that's exactly right.
That is that's the outward sign of the Spirit's work, right? It is a changed behavior.
Right.
Maybe not. Maybe the sign of the work of the Spirit is that you acknowledge how bad you are more and more.
Well,
Maybe you acknowledge the mistakes you make more.
sure, you do acknowledge that, but the behavior changes because of the presence of Holy Spirit.
That's right.
And he is in you, and he lives in you, and he's training you, and he's reminding you, and that's what changes the behavior. Not, I can't do it. I can't pull that off.
Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. That's what you do, though, right? That's the fruit of Rick,
No,
right?
that is no. My fruit.
It's the fruit of the Spirit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's his work in you that changes you.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead.
Finish the story.
Yeah, finish the story.
Chris and
Yes. So he had been working on me for about a year and a half, and he came to the Grace Message through Andrew Farley, one of you guys' friends.
Yep.
And he was working on me for a while, and he finally convinced me to read one of Dr. Farley's books, The Grace Message.
Yeah.
And I read it, and it was like my brain was exploding.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Yeah.
Because it explained so many things in a way that I had never heard before. Growing up in the church all my life, being very, very, went to Awana for 8 years. However, from Cubbies all the way to the varsity program, I got the citation award. I'm fairly certain I'm one of the last people who did get it because I don't think they have that program anymore.
Yeah, they do. They still do. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I know Awana is still in existence,
Oh.
but I don't think they go all the way through high school anymore.
I don't know.
So I think a lot of churches have their own high school programs, and so it kind of peters out after middle school. But
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah.
probably. Yeah.
but yeah, he convinced me to read the Grace Message, and it was life changing.
Yeah.
It absolutely was, and I haven't been able to stop reading Grace books ever since.
Yeah, and you don't have to talk about this if you're not comfortable. What does it cost you? What has enjoying your freedom? What has caused, as you get close to the end of the journey into freedom, which I believe we have, I believe we've all entered into the freedom. What has it cost you?
It's caused challenges in my relationships with other people.
It cost me a marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult to convince religious people that they're in bondage.
Yeah. It is.
When you tell somebody, I think it was Tullian. I keep quoting this guy. He
It's a
was
man-
talking.
it's clearly a man crush.
Clearly. he was talking about one of his professors in seminary who made the comment that if you want people to be mad at you, teach law. Tell them what they have to do.
Yep.
Tell them that they're not doing enough. They need to do more. If you want to make people incensed, enraged, teach gospel, teach grace. Tell them
Yes.
that there's nothing they can do. There's nothing you can do to make yourself more righteous in the eyes of God.
That's right.
Your righteousness is because of Christ, not because of anything you do.
Exactly right.
People are going to be enraged at you. And that's exactly what I've experienced.
Did you get your answer?
I'd like to know how long you've been on the road of the understanding grace.
August, September last year. So
Oh,
fairly new.
good job. No, you're down the road. I mean, you're
Oh,
Yeah, you really are.
soaking it all up.
Yeah.
I stand on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Farley, Tullian, John Lynch. Let's see who
Me
else.
too. I stand on those same shoulders.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to end with this question. What's the difference between being a slave and being in bondage?
That is a really good question.
I wish we had the music from what's that game show? Dun, 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 dun.
Just cut that and play it over in a loop. I'll give it the end too. We can cut that out, right?
Yeah. Nope, it's going to stay.
We don't cut anything
Great.
out. That's a tough one.
See, he's not thirsty. He's just thinking.
I absolutely was taking a break to think. What do you think it means?
Nah.
Uh-uh.
You got to come up with something. I'll tell you if you're wrong. How's that?
Okay, fair enough. I thought there are no wrong answers, Rick. What's
Grace. All right.
there you go.
Yep.
Bondage is voluntary.
That's good.
That's a good answer. I didn't even have that one. Bondage is voluntary.
That just literally popped into my head.
Bondage is voluntary.
Bondage is something you voluntarily put yourself under.
Well, actually, I think it's, and that's a very true statement, but I actually don't think there is any difference between the two. I think I am a slave to
This
righteousness.
was a trick question.
It was. And I am in bondage to God.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't think there's any difference.
I like his answer.
But I love your answer. But we voluntarily have done this.
Yeah.
We voluntarily have accepted and said yes to Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was thinking in terms of law and grace.
Yes. And I knew
And
that. And I knew you. I knew
voluntarily placing yourself
that.
back
And I'll
under
bet
a
you
yoke
every
of the
one
law.
of them went to the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a trick question.
Trick quest. Come on. It's my first time, Rick. Come on. Be
But yet-
gentle with
but
me.
you handled it beautifully. You handled
you.
it beautifully. Yeah. All right. Gosh, this has been
Well,
good.
Anything else you want to say?
Yeah.
These guys are awesome. Listen to their podcast.
We have good guests.
And they are just exactly the same off camera as they are on. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but it's true.
So thank you, Charles. Thank
you,
you for
Rick.
taking the time to drive up to Edmond or out to Evan or whatever direction.
Northeast.
Northeast to Edmond. And thank you guys for watching and listening. Be sure to go to our website, oneness-ministries.org. And if you like this, consider supporting us. So we'll see you next time.